So good evening and welcome to the next Town Hall update for the reopening of the Highland Falls for Montgomery Central School District. I'm Dr. Frank Sheboy, Superintendent, and tonight I'm joined by Dr. Andrea Tejedor, our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, Instruction, and Technology. Our principals, Ms. Rachel Adelstein, Mr. Michael McElduff, Ms. Debbie Brand, and our Director of Pupil Personnel Services, Ms. Beth Cardenas. So over the past few weeks, we've been talking to the community, and we've been looking through the lens of four guiding principles. The first one, to ensure the health, safety, and welfare of our students, faculty, and staff. The second, to deliver high-quality instruction regardless of the delivery model. Third, to be flexible to the ever-changing conditions and responsive to student needs. And fourth, to plan for progress, not perfection. We've talked at length and will continue over the next few meetings to look at the student and staff experience in terms of teaching and learning, social emotional learning, vulnerable student populations, transportation, facilities, food services, health, wellness, English language learners, security, and safety. We've been talking about some of the strategies that we will be implementing this school year as we move into our face-to-face instruction, namely limited hallways, limited traffic hallways, periodic health screenings, distanced workstations, reduced classroom seating, sanitation stations, avoiding the sharing of materials, virtual meetings when possible, increased sanitation and use of PPE. We've talked about the procurement of PPE for our students, for our health and safety of our staff and our students. And you can see that we've made some progress in these as far as the procurement of masks and gloves and hand sanitizer, disinfecting machines, air filters, non-contact thermometers, and tissues. We continue our preparation in terms of the health questionnaire, ensuring the face coverings and hand hygiene, requiring health screening, making sure that hand sanitizer is available in our classrooms and by our washrooms and our entrances, working with food services and transportation, training our faculty and staff, limiting the access to our buildings for just our students and staff as much as possible, remembering that physical distancing is the word of the day. Again, no sharing of supplies, making sure that our students have reliable devices at their hands, and enhancing our cleaning of our schools, our facilities, and our buses. We talked last week a little bit more about the cleaning protocols, including daily cleaning, enhanced cleaning, and disinfectant cleaning. And we talked about our well-being reporting protocols prior to arrival, and anytime during the day, which includes that health screening with the temperature check every day that is so crucial to any program that we're going to have face-to-face. And a reminder that anyone who is ill should stay at home. And just a reminder that anybody who walking into our buildings, whether it's a student or staff or a vendor, will go through a thermal scanning system. And it's important to remember, again, in our buildings, we will require student face covers, faculty and staff face cover masks.
So I'm going to review the instructional models that we have introduced. Again, our instructional models have been designed around the student experience, including the academic, emotional, and social experience of our students. Also, we seek to minimize any potential health risks. And also, we have tried to maximize the ability to pivot between phases and be agile in terms of the learning environments that we've created, so that we can shift from one type of learning to another should the need arise. We'll be starting our school year with 100% virtual learning, and that will take place on September 8th. The following 2 weeks on September 21st, On September 21st, we will shift to a hybrid schedule where we will have our students who are in grades kindergarten through second grade, our third grade students, and our ninth grade students join us in school based on the hybrid schedule. Students will be assigned to a hybrid cohort, maroon or gold, and it is a 2-day block schedule. So students will be with the maroon cohort, they'll go to school on Monday and Tuesday, and then if students are assigned to the gold cohort, they will go to school on Thursday and Friday. All of our special education students in self-contained classrooms will be in school all 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. The following week, September 28th, all students in grades kindergarten through 12th grade will be attending school in our hybrid model. Again, this is a 2-day block schedule. Gold and maroon cohorts will be assigned. This is a special schedule this week because Monday is a holiday. So students who are assigned to a maroon cohort will be in school on Tuesday and Wednesday, and students who are assigned to the following week is the week of October 5th, and all students in grades K-12 will be attending school according to our hybrid schedule. Again, students assigned to the maroon cohort will be in school on Monday and Tuesday, and students in the gold cohort will be attending school on Thursday and Friday. Last week, we presented information on an option to opt out of in-person instruction. Parents and guardians can choose to have their child opt out of in-person learning. We did in the survey ask people to indicate whether or not the child will participate in a virtual-only learning experience for the first 10 weeks of school. This 10-week period includes the first 3 weeks of school when we are virtual and transitioning to our hybrid model. The responses are due by the end of business on Wednesday, August 19th, and the district will adapt classes based on the responses to provide instructional programming in a virtual setting. Information will be sent to families the week of August 31st.
So we are in the final preparations for our school year. We'll just go back a little bit in time. On August 7th, Governor Cuomo announced that schools could reopen. On August 12th, we had a town hall. August 17th, earlier today, we had a town hall for faculty and staff, and currently it is the 17th in the evening, and this is our town hall for our community. We have another one scheduled at 5 p.m. this coming Thursday. We are planning a few more town halls, and we'll get the dates out for the community at the next meeting on the 20th. But on the 1st through the 4th, we'll have superintendent conference days, and September 1st represents the first day of virtual instruction. As we have over the past few weeks, we're going to spend some time now taking some questions that were sent in. We will again update our FAQ page to reflect those that are truly frequently asked, and we remind people that that is available on our website. If there are questions for the next town hall, which again is scheduled for this Thursday, they can be sent to reopening@hffmcsd.org. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Tejedor, who can moderate some of our questions for today.
Thank you, Dr. Shiboy. It is a pleasure to be here this evening and to be joined by our members of our administrative team, the principals, and the Director of People Personnel Services. So we're going to start with a question that many people have asked that really we're going to hear from the principals. And we've asked them to describe their plans to manage arrivals and departures at the different schools. Ms. Brand?
Good evening. So in order for our students to have some more time to have their temperature taken, to maintain social distancing, to get to their morning classes, the high school will start at 7:25 a.m., which is 5 minutes later than our typical time. We were temporarily considering starting at 8:20 a.m. However, as we looked closer at that time and the details it would require, we decided that a change like that posed too many additional obstacles and challenges So in terms of when students get off the bus in the morning, when students, faculty, and staff arrive at the high school, they will line up outside the entrances wearing their masks and standing 6 feet apart. In order to ensure that students are not overcrowded at entrances, each bus will be emptied one at a time. Students will get off the bus 6 feet apart. Students who are dropped off by a parent will need to get out of their car with a mask on and proceed to the entrance, maintaining social distancing at all times. Each individual will go through the thermal scanner at the entrance and then proceed to the appropriate first period location.
Mr. McElduff?
Great. When students arrive at HFIS via bus, they will be released from their buses one at a time, very similar to the high school. Students will get off the bus and maintain social distancing as they enter the building. Students who are dropped off by a parent or walk will proceed to the side entrance, maintaining social distancing at all times. Each individual, whether it's students, faculty, or staff, will go through the thermal scanners at the entrances and then proceed to the appropriate homeroom locations. Students will be dismissed one grade level at a time to board buses, and for students who are picked up outside of school, will social distance outside and wait for their caregiver to pick them up.
Thank you, Ms. Edelstein.
Similar to both the high school as well as intermediate school, when students arrive on the buses, they will disembark one bus at a time and line up socially distanced along the sidewalk to enter the school via the main entrance and go through the thermal scanner. Students that are considered walkers will also line up along the sidewalk to use the main entrance in front of the school as well. There will be staff members stationed there to support them as they navigate around the sidewalk to the main entrance. At dismissal time, students will be dismissed one grade level at a time, one bus color at a time to board the buses, and staff will escort each group of students to the buses to support in maintaining social distancing. Walkers will use the cafeteria exits. However, parents or guardians that will pick up will not be permitted to enter the school building or wait inside the vestibule. Rather, a staff member will escort the child out to their guardian, and the staff member will sign the child out using our internal sign-out sheet.
Thank you. We've also had questions regarding lunch at the schools. What is the process for lunch and where will students eat lunch? Ms. Brand?
So at the high school, all students will have a 30-minute lunch period at 11:30 a.m. Students will report to one of 5 assigned locations that allow for social distancing. There will be kiosks at each location so that students can get their lunch should they opt to not bring one in themselves. All school lunches will be boxed cold lunches.
At the intermediate school, Mr. McElduff?
As of right now, students in all grades will be eating in either their classrooms or a designated room throughout the building. Lunch and recess periods will be 40 minutes long, and all lunches will be boxed and cold lunches.
And at the elementary school?
All students will also eat in their classrooms. At the Fort Montgomery Elementary School, lunch periods will be 30 minutes in length, and that will be just time to eat. Teachers will take their lunch orders in the beginning of the day, again, boxed cold lunches, or students will have their own lunches from home. Classrooms will be cleaned at the end of each lunch period so that at the onset of instructional time, there's a clean space. Recess will take place at a separate time throughout the day according to a schedule.
Great, thank you so much. Ms. Gordinas, the Director of Pupil Personnel Services, is also here with us this evening, and she's going to share information about our special education program. Until schools return to normal operating conditions, the same flexibility with respect to IEP implementation for delivery of services during school closures due to COVID-19 outbreak continues to apply to the programs and services, whether delivered in person or remotely. Ms. Rodinas, we have a question from a parent. My child attends a 12-1-1 special education class at the Fort Montgomery Elementary School. When will my child attend school and when will they receive their related services?
So students in our 12-1-1 special education classes in grades K to 6 will attend school Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, beginning on September 21st. They will receive their related services as per their IEP during the school day.
And how will you provide support for children who are in an integrated co-teaching class?
So our students in our integrated co-teaching classes will follow their cohort according to the hybrid model. Our students will attend either Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday. Wednesdays will allow for synchronous small group instruction with the child's teachers.
And what if a child goes to school outside of our district?
So we will continue to provide transportation to our placements outside of district. Students will attend the program identified on their IEP as per their school's reopening plan.
And how will the district, or how is the district supporting learning for ENL students?
So we are making sure that we are communicating with our parents in their preferred language and mode of communication. Instructional units of study will be provided to our English language learners based on their most recent test, which would be the year prior. We will update the identification timeline so that all students are identified, and we follow those procedures within the first 20 days of school opening for any students that entered during the COVID-19 closure or once school starts. And we are providing professional learning opportunities for all of our teachers to cover topics that best support practices and an equitable instruction for our ENL students and help address the learning gaps that may have been caused by the school district closure.
Thank you so much. Mr. McElduff, we have some questions about the accelerated 8th graders. Will they still have access to the accelerated courses?
Yes, of course. Students participating in the accelerated 8th grade program will be able to participate in the advanced classes. However, in order to minimize how much exposure these students have to a wide variety of populations, the Algebra 1 and biology teachers from the high school will be meeting those 8th graders at HFIS. The HFI students will still take those classes during earlier hours, which are between 9:25 and 9:41 a.m. As always, transportation will be provided for those students.
I just want to clarify between 7:25 and 9:45 a.m., correct?
Correct, 7:25 and 9.
I just wanted to clarify. Thank you so much. We talked a little bit about this, but Ms. Adelstein, how will you handle parents picking students up from school?
So at the regular dismissal time, as I shared earlier, parents will wait outside the school building and a staff member will escort the child to the guardian. During the day, if there should be a case where a child must be picked up earlier, as we've shared prior, there are not visitors that are going to be entering the school except for extreme circumstances. If there's a child that's ill and the parent must enter, then they will be allowed into the building. We must go through the thermal scanner, and we will also adhere to all protocols, and then masks must be worn.
Thank you. And will there be birthday parties for the children at the Fort Montgomery Elementary School?
Great question. So as we shared in our district plan, we are limiting visitors to the building. However, while families will not be allowed to come into the building, we will encourage teachers and families to find other ways to celebrate special milestones like birthdays within the classroom setting.
Thank you. And there was a question about a child who has food allergy. How can all the students eat in the same classroom?
We'll create a space for any student that may have an allergy to eat their meal without the threat of exposure to a food that causes them to have a sort of reaction.
Great, thank you. So what are you doing about recess? Students are going to be running around, and how will you separate them? Mr. McElduff?
Great. So recess will be embedded daily throughout the school day at FMES as well as HFIS. We will follow all cleaning protocols with the use of the playground equipment. And Ms. Adelstein is working with Mr. Fargo and the Building and Grounds Department to create game spaces on the blacktop for students. Additionally, at HFIS, I'll be working with Mr. Fargo as well to utilize our soccer field to allow game spaces throughout the field as well.
And specifically at the Fort Montgomery Elementary School, how will students be separated during recess?
So each class will have their own recess period, so there'll be a limited number of students playing outside at the same time. Our teachers, aides, and monitors will work to offer games that are fun and engaging while maintaining social distance. We'll also actively monitor and remind students to remain socially distanced while playing.
So many people have asked, what if someone refuses to wear a mask? We expect all students and faculty and staff to appropriately wear masks as a means of illness mitigation. We anticipate that everyone who will be in our schools will comply with this expectation. Ms. Adelstein, will you speak to how you will enforce this at the Fort Montgomery Elementary School?
Sure. We're going to remind students of the importance of wearing their mask. We'll also communicate with families as needed to ensure that students use proper PPE. If the child needs a mask, we'll also provide a disposable one for them to use.
And Ms. Brand, can you speak to the same question at the high school and also the intermediate school?
Sure. At both the high school and the intermediate school, we feel that face masks are essential for the safety of all students and faculty and staff. Again, the expectation is for everyone to wear face covers and masks throughout the day, except for times when people are eating or times that have been designated mask-free. Therefore, if someone refuses to wear a mask or wear a mask properly or appropriately, after being given the opportunity to self-correct, the administration will remove the student from the general population. The student will not be able to attend in-person classes until a mask is worn over the nose and mouth. If the student still refuses to comply with the requirement, a parent will be asked to retrieve the student. The student can then participate in classes remotely.
Thank you. The next question is also for you, Ms. Brand. Will O'Neill still host the ACTs and the SATs?
So presently, O'Neill will not be hosting any ACTs or SATs during the month of September, but we are looking to host a socially distanced administration in the month of October. To keep students safe, we will be limiting the number of students who can sign up for each test.
Thank you. I received a question, we have received a question about why must the opt-out period be for the full quarter rather than just until progress report time, the midpoint of the quarter? I understand the school does not want people switching back and forth, but 10 weeks seems long. 10 weeks is a marking period. It is a logical entry point for any child whose family opts for virtual-only instruction. In order to manage the schedules of all the students, we need to keep our cohort balancing, and having students move in and out of the hybrid model decreases our ability to do this. For point of reference, many of the neighboring districts have set the minimum opt-out period at the semester, meaning that children would not be able to switch from being fully virtual to in-person until February 1st. Dr. Shivoy, the next question is for you. And it says, ASHRAE is recommending that schools use MERV 13 filters or greater. Why is the district using MERV 8 filters?
So the New York State Department of Health and New York State Education Department requirements are for MERV 8 filters. We meet those requirements. We are exploring our ability to upgrade to higher filtration, but in the meanwhile, we have moved to a 3-month replacement cycle for our filters. In addition, the Operations and Maintenance Department has increased the flow of fresh outside air to the classroom spaces through our building management system. As we explained last week in the town hall, the process of upgrading our HVAC system would take time. We're hoping for some regulatory relief that would allow us to potentially escalate that timeline.
Thank you. We had a question about the Virtual Learning Academy. Is the Virtual Learning Academy an option for high schoolers if parents opt out of in-person instruction? And yes, it is an option for all students. And the students will participate in the instructional program provided via the virtual learning program the district will be implementing. Ms. Brand, there's a question about sharing desks without disinfection and sanitation between students, and it presents a significant transmission risk. For the high school student, where students change classroom each period, is there an ability to disinfect desks in between classes?
The short answer to that is yes, we do have the ability to do that. The way we're going to do it is students at the high school will be assigned to classrooms that were not utilized the previous period. Any room that is not being used will be cleaned during that class period. In the event that this is not possible, students will be assigned to desks in the room that were not used in the previous period.
We had a question about the platform for submitting work. So is there going to be one unified platform for submitting schoolwork? And the answer is yes. We will be using Google Classroom instead of being faced with multiple platforms. This way parents can expect consistency with the use of Google Classroom. The next question, when are the cohort group assignments going to be mailed out for the students? We anticipate posting cohort group assignments and schedules to the parent portal by the end of August. If families need assistance accessing parent portal, they should contact the guidance office at the high school and intermediate school or the main office at the Fort Montgomery Elementary School. Mr. McElduff, this is a question for you. When are the school supply lists going to be posted for the students?
The school supply lists have been posted on our school website as well as Class Dojo, and I believe that is true for the Fort Montgomery Elementary School.
And Ms. Brand, the last question goes to you. There's a question about the CTEC programs. There's information out there that they're starting on September 3rd, but our students don't start school until September 8th. What is the situation with that, and will transportation be provided to Orange or BOCES?
So our students, like nearly all students in Orange County, will begin classes at CTEC on September 8th, 2020. But in general, if we do not have school at the high school, or if we are on a remote learning schedule that day, transportation will be provided for our CTEC students.
So just want to thank everybody. Over the past few weeks, we began our town halls with a discussion of our options. It was a fairly global view. We then moved into a more narrow focus to discuss our plan and what it looked like from Highland Falls' perspective. Last week, we had the principals here to explain our schedules, and this week to go a little bit more into detail about some of our processes and some of the more granular concerns that have been expressed to us. As we move through the next week or the next 2 weeks or the next 3 weeks, as we become closer to the school year, we're going to continue to maintain that focus and narrow it down and provide more information for our faculty and staff and for our community and for our parents and for our children, so that everybody knows exactly what they're going to expect when we return to instruction face-to-face on or around September 21st, depending on your cohort and where you are. We really appreciate your time this evening. I want to thank Dr. Tejedor, Stephen Klein, our principals, Ms. Adelstein, Mr. McElduff, and Ms. Brand, our PPS director, Ms. Ordinez, for joining us here tonight to address our community's questions. Hopefully we'll see you on Thursday evening, and until then, be safe and be well.